Let me ask you this question. What will you do if you were seated in your home and a news pops up and it happened to be your wife, yourself, and your family in the news? And then you get interested. It looks like something palatable because you are a celebrity. And then, boom, it is something questioning your wife's fidelity to you, the legality of the child you call your son, and the general loyalty and trust you both share in your family relationship. What happens? What will you do at such moments? If you ask me, some seeds have been planted. In that moment, whether or not those allegations are true, you're going to reflect back to even think it and say, is that the case? Is that the situation? And then for people who cannot manage it, it spirals into more serious family squabbles. Such is the situation the gospel singer Nathaniel Bassey found himself in recent times. Let's look at the issues holistically. Welcome back. This is Bridges, where we talk about relationship, lifestyle, we review information, and more.
You will share your baby testimony very soon.
The space of DNA questioning, as much as the good results it might have, it's also becoming a problem, such that people can boldly question the paternity of a child based on their looks. In recent times, the news is everywhere and everybody knows it that Nathaniel Bassey and Mrs. Chinwo, who we all know are very prominent gospel ministers in Nigeria, came under the bullying hands of social media witch hunters in recent times. I use those words because it's becoming worrisome. And those things come from the audacity that I don't know where it is coming from. What right what someone has to question the paternity of a child that is not in dispute, of a child in the loving arms of his parents, especially when those people are not saddled with such responsibility. Social media is here to stay, but there are people who are not wise and they have taken advantage of the fact that they are at liberty to record anything as their opinion to begin to spew a lot of hate and a lot of things that we can always frown at. Let me give you a recap in case you don't know the people we are talking about. Mrs. Chinwo some time ago had a baby, and it was also in the news when she got wedded to the love of her life, Pastor Blessed. And since then, they have been part of our social media loves and all the likes, with the impact they are making with the ministry God has given them. But you know, there are people who want to make content but do not have something to say. So they scout for news, they chase clouds by defamation, they say a lot of things. But before I go on with this whole thing, I began to question how we got here, and I began to realize that that mentality could have come from this default belief that couples are silent enemies. Somehow, some people feel that couples are in a tussle. Spouses are usually quote and unquote silent enemies, such that some people will be bold enough to bring in news about your wife, bold enough to bring in news about your husband. There's this cold war squabble between these two people who are supposed to be partners, in life that some people will be watching out for you, for whoever they think they should be watching out for. So you see such people in society, they bring you news. I saw your wife in so place. I saw your husband in so place. And you know, that default belief that couples are in a tussle, it kind of gives some people the audacity to peddle news about a partner. And then there's also that belief that women are sluts, like they are sexual tools. They have no will of their own. They can be pushed around. They can give in to anything. Like some people go as much as say women have a chicken brain, fish brain. Like they have no will of theirs. Like they can be tossed around. They are not strong-willed. They are just there for manipulation. Or should I even say that women are flirts? Like they are flirts. They assume names like bitches. They assume other names, you know what a bitch is. I think that's the name for a female dog. Somehow. Maybe I'll do my research. But I think that's the meaning. And then there's also this default belief that men should not trust their wives. Women are not to be trusted. Some people have also extended it to mean that men are not to be trusted. But for me, I will always say that there are some men who cannot be trusted with fidelity. There are some women who cannot be trusted for fidelity. So we don't have to paint everybody in same brush. There are still people who value integrity, who value virtues, who value honors, who value themselves and respect themselves, no matter how they are pushed with sexual desires. We are all human beings, and sometimes in our lives as programmed by God, our maker, you have those feelings. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you complete. That's what makes you able to complete your mission as a human who is to procreate. So when people now make it look like those things cannot be under control, it's the same as when you feel hunger, when you feel angry, when you feel other emotions and feelings, you are able to harness them and put them together to your benefits. So when people go around making it look like men generally, women generally have no self-control, it begins to raise questions. Truly, in our society now, there are many cases of identity or DNA thefts. There are many DNA issues. But I want to believe that it doesn't also mean that with the innumerable number of persons in the society, the numbers of people who are faithful to their partners, people who are true to themselves, do not outweigh or outnumber those who are not. Let me give you a recap. Some time ago, there is this guy. I don't care about his name. I don't want to know again. Because when it happened earlier with AY, this same guy picked on AY, the popular Nigerian comedian, saying a lot of things. You can check out my previous videos on AY. I also talked about how AY gave up himself. But I also talked extensively about this same guy peddling such information about someone. His case was taken to the police by the person he accused. And then he came out apologizing. He's all clout. He's all this. I wanted to get followership and all that. Like he's catching cruise. And one would think that he would learn from that experience. Unfortunately, this person is adamantly hardened in his business of defamation. That he now picked on Mercy Chinwo, went ahead as putting the child together to another man, Nathaniel Bassey in this case, and said, this is the father of the child. If you hear him talk, he said, don't come out crying tomorrow that I did not tell you. You know, he spoke very assuredly, very, very sure. Like he was very sure. And then I was shaking my head. I've asked this question many times, how you are going to use the facial or physical properties, facial looks, features of a child to determine the paternity of that child. Some people argue that when a child is fair and the father is black, it's not the child. There are many issues that can influence the look of a child. Some people go ahead as when saying that when a child is short or tall against the height of his father and mother, they are not the biological owners of those children. I want to say again that there are many things that will influence the look, physical look of a child, for which you cannot say because of that they are illegitimate. Now let's look at a newborn baby. When children are growing, they take different forms and faces. These are people who are still evolving. They are still coming out from their very tender nature to becoming who they need to be. In the first month when a child is born, they don't always look like what you expect. Sometimes there's a little resemblance, sometimes there's not. And then within the first 2 weeks, you see a change. They keep changing. Within the next 1 month, you see the child looking like the father. The next moment is looking like the dad. The next moment is looking like an uncle, a relation. I have children, and amongst my children, there are some that look like their grandmother. There are some that look like their grandfather. There are some that has close resemblance with my husband's brothers or even sisters. Sometimes some of them will not look very much like me, that people will say, why did you know how we say it in Africa, that you won? Why is your husband allowing you to win? And all that. And we will laugh about it. Or why are you allowing your wife to win and take up everything? Because the children are all looking like you, or they are all looking like your husband. Those are things we joke about. The same person can come back in a few time and see that it's not what it was. Say, I used to think this child looks like so person, but is actually looking like this other person. You see that children will keep changing these forms until they are grown and assume their real look. Even when we are grown, I look at my pictures these days and I'm like, is this me? This lanky girl of yesterday, is this big? Sometimes my husband will go as much as saying, this is not how you were when I married you, and all those jokes. And then I will tell him the same. We are all changing, we keep changing in forms and look. More so for newborn babies. When you place them in front of a camera, they're going to look like someone. And then the same picture, if you look at them ordinarily outside the camera, they look somewhat different. For a child who is still in their first 3 months, you are already taking them away from their lineage, their paternity outside. Now let's look at it. The story. We all know when Mercy Chinwo got wedded. We know when she had her baby. I feel awkward doing this analysis like this. It's like, it's not my business. But when some people get unreasonable, you get into these things. It's not your business to start checking when somebody got married, when he had a baby, comparing it to when he waited to say the timelines match. That's an extreme. But for the purpose of this argument, we're going to be doing it. I feel awkward. But let's even look at it ordinarily. Because we know when this lady wedded, we know when she delivered her baby. When we also look at those timelines, we will see that she would be said to still be in the stages of her honeymoon. It depends on people and their state and their honeymoon. For some people, honeymoon is for months. Some people say for couples, honeymoon should be forever. Some people those timelines. Let's look at it. So, is it within that time of the lifeline of a newly wedded wife and husband that she has already started cheating on the husband? The persons said, when they are ministers, after ministering to the church or to the people, they will go and minister to themselves in the bedroom. They were very categorical and sure. Some people do not reason. Before you make these allegations, you have to think. You have to think. You don't just have to carry your camera and sit in front of the camera and say a lot of things about people. That is also why I'm so concerned about the way the police is handling the Mohbad case. A lot of people who are talking now are still the same people who are castigating Wunmi, Mohbad's wife, and saying, DNA, we must do DNA. That lady owe nobody any explanation as to any DNA test. That's not the crux of the matter. The police is on her case. Now, I want to also put it to the police that is the more reason you have to come through with that investigation. Because we are trusting that you're on the case. And we keep telling people that the police is on this matter. They gave us an idea or they got to an extent as to what the issues are, because the major thing is to unravel the death of the young man we all love, Mohbad. So, and in the process, because people are so impatient, they want it now and now. They are now saying, Wumi, you must have a DNA test. You must have the same way this same person is telling Mrs. Chinwo and the husband, Mrs. Chinwo's husband, to go and get a DNA test. They are mandating him to go and get a DNA test. Like seriously? Like seriously? These are people who are not in doubt of the loyalty of their partner, and you are telling them you must go and get a DNA. Did Mohbad tell you that he is in doubt about the paternity of his son before his demise? The issues are different. And let's even say they are true. What rights does the public have to go and tell her, to avoid every doubt, to shut up wagging mouth, go and get the DNA and show them? If you want to wag your mouth till next tomorrow, talk till next tomorrow, that's your business. That's your business. Let me tell you to go and get a DNA test, and you say, because I said it, I'm going to do it, and you call me Jazini, oh yeah, see the DNA test, I've done it. That's the height of callousness. Except the partner requests that, and they're serious about it, and they're asking the public to contribute and put their mouths in it. We don't have the right to push people to go and get a DNA test when they are not questioning the legality of their children. Why I'm saying that the police has to come through with the case of Mohbad is because since that case started, that everybody seemed to have the mouth to be talking about DNA tests to people. And there are so many also prank issues that people do in Nigeria these days. So many of these shows where they prank people about paternity and a lot of things against their wishes. They bring out their dirty linens to the public. These issues that both of them should handle as a family is being brought to the public without their consent. These are weighty allegations. These are weighty issues. Is it within the time of that marriage and their honeymoon and the short that you have started accusing the young lady of infidelity? Let's look at it. There are so many things that could happen before you start accusing people to have gone away from the loyalty of their partnership. We didn't see that happen in the case of Mrs. Chinwo, for someone to now come and say, this is your child, or this is not your child. These are raising very pertinent issues and questions. When I said I was asking that question, if you were sitting in your room and that news trickles in, you look at your partner looks at you, what comes into mind? Someone has planted the seed of discord. Someone has planted the seed of suspicion. Someone has punctured the trust you have on your partner. Believe me, no matter how resolved this matter gets, at one point or the other, it's going to come up. Couples, families have issues that they don't bring to the public to say, come and help us, we can't handle it. Because they can handle it, they keep fixing it. But at such times, these questions are going to come up in their mind. The seed of discord that has been planted. And it's not everybody that is able to manage it. It is going this way because these are believers. These are people who have very high regard for forgiveness, what God says, the word of God, and self-control and restraint. But if they were not, these issues can get out of hand. These issues can get out of hand. So, what about friendship? You begin to puncture the friendship those people have in their relationship. People don't reason. When you want to start a thing, you ask some questions. How far can it go? How far can I go? To what extent can my actions cause a repair or a damage? Think through. So you puncture the friendship these people have. What about business relationship? If it is people who are not mature enough, you will hear things like, let me mind my business. Oh. I don't want what people will say. Oh. I know one day here. They will start avoiding the businesses they had together. They start avoiding the relationships they've created together just to please the public. No family. No family. No family. No family has any business pleasing anybody, any public. Yes, they are public figures, they are celebrities, we enjoy them, we celebrate them, we want to see them, but it doesn't give you right into their personal lives. It doesn't give you right into their privacy. You see as much as they can give you. And I don't think this man had come out to accuse the wife or to reject his son. In the case of AY, I said how AY gave up himself and the wife gave up themselves. Because first of all, she came to complain that she's under a kind of torture. And then that guy latched onto it. And I went on to say that it is he who fetched an ant-infested firewood that invited the lizard. But in this case, there was no clue, nobody. They were just rejoicing with you. Shebi, since they born those children, I never see them. And they are now saying, see the blessing of God in our lives. So that's the mistake they made. Even though these are raising issues as to this privacy of children, anybody has any right to say, this is my property, this is my blessings. They want to show the children God has given them. In our society, we don't really have issues with people flaunting their children. Even though there are calls in several quarters now about the protection of the child. So relationships are affected when people open their mouths anyhow. I am talking today because I'm very much interested in family, in relationships, in seeing people come together again, in building bonds, in mending fences, in seeing that we don't tear apart, we don't keep widening the gaps between us, so that we can make good and healthy human beings and society. Cast people these days before we have the rights. Yeah, we criticize governments because obviously they are saddled with running our lives. And when they are not doing it well, we call them out. But with someone you have not given any responsibility over you, you have no right to call the person out. Except the person is influencing you negatively. So the public call for DNA tests are arrogant nonsense. People who enjoy kingdom marriages, trust themselves. Listen to what I said. I said kingdom marriages. We are Christians, we are believers who feel that the word of God is our standard and we borrow from it to make our relationships work. So if the woman is striving to attain and the man is striving to attain and they are working willingly together to make their relationship what it should be, that kind of relationship may not have trust issues, may not have infidelity issues. Get me right. I'm not talking about people who are pretending and being under the shield and cover of the church. I'm talking about conscious Christians, those who are interested in pleasing God and knowing what God thinks about their lives. We are not perfect, but that desire to strive, that desire to give in to the will of God is what makes us different. Now, some people will say teaching a lesson. There are many calls to bring these people to book. Some people are saying social media is not helping matters. Truly, these things have been, even before social media became very prominent, like something we cannot do without in these, over the last, let me say 10 years. And, oh my God, I pity our parents. Our parents, they saw hell. Fake news or stalking or libel or defamation or as in rubbing potopoto mud on people's body is not new. They've been there. Why I said our parents suffered is because that time, if people would say things about you, carry news about you, oh my God, you're on your own. There are people who have carried stigma and things on them that are not exactly what it is. I mean, what is painted to be, what people have called it to be, names people have given them, gossips have been done on them, and bad names that have been given to them. Those days, if as a woman, there is this shade of suspicion on you concerning infidelity, you are gone for. The whole village, the whole people are going to carry it like it's true. People will hate you without knowing why. People hear rumors, and they take it on, and When somebody bring up those issues, some people help them paint it very well. Give it head, hand, leg, make it a full human being, and even cars, and be pushing them on. And the person will be scared for life. The only thing now is that social media is easier and has a wider spread. Only that time it will just be your locality and your where you are known. But now, both where you are known, where you are not known, it will keep going. That's the difference. So fake news has always been there. We're only in an information era where we have technology to get the needed publicity. So it's important that those involved take very drastic measures to curb things like this. People will believe what they want to believe. It's important not to plant the seed. I would like to tell you that the people involved took the matter up. Nathaniel Bassey took the matter up through his
in this instance, they were very categorical in their statements.
Who made
one of them even
statements.
posted a picture of our client Nathaniel Bassey and said, "This is the real father of the baby." So in this instance, this person has made a categorical statement which is in violation of what the law stands for. So in this particular instance, all we have just simply said is that let the police investigate this matter. Our police officers, they know the law. They know what the criminal code talks about criminal defamation.
And then there were other grievous ones that said that after ministering in the church, they will go and minister in the bedroom. My God.
So you will look at this facts, you will see that this guy is
very insensitive, very insensitive, very insensitive. Most of the people who are shouting down these ones are also the ones accusing other people in some places. Being human requires that you put yourself in the shoes of others, as in put them in your shoes. In fact, assume their position. Just carry yourself, go and fix where they are. Imagine that you are them and somebody is throwing such things on you. Can you take it? How can you take it? Some people are going to say, where is forgiveness? Where is forgiveness? This message Chinwo at a time was used in a music video to depict a pretender. When they will say Mommy Gio and things like that. I think she also took a legal action that time. People started saying, where is forgiveness, godliness? And our laws are there for us to use. Where it is needed for you to maximize the provisions of the law, use it. It's for checks and balances. God didn't remove the laws of the land. He even said, I came to fulfill it. That is why it is very important for us to put our laws based on godly principles. Because after God, it is the state. After God, it is the government. These are people who navigate our lives. It is very important that we'll keep searching ourselves and see how we pull people down, we tear people down. It is the lessons to learn is after casting these people now, I come back to myself and start looking, is there any way I bring another person down? Is there any way I bring another person that should not be the stumbling block in the will of the progress of another person? Do to others what you want them to do to you. Let's create a large heart, and it's not possible if there's no God in you. The ordinary man is wicked. The Bible says that the heart is wicked and desperately wicked. Sorry, the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? There is this natural tendency to derive joy by the undoing of another person. The motive is what we should search. And to be able to achieve that person who is not a destroyer, we need to constantly align with God. We need to constantly come closer to God. It is the moment we started getting so liberal and removing God from our lives that we started getting very closer to demonic and satanic behaviors. It is my prayer that God will continually prune us and help us become who we should be.